that you're able to spin and hit the egg. So there's no way to really stop that other than the roar. And I don't know, if you're roaring a spinning jug, that doesn't necessarily feel good either.
No.
There's not really damage follow-up. Like, even this is looking a little bit strange from Gambit. I mean, I get where they're coming from. They want to try to their lanes are okay. Obviously, Visage isn't the greatest laner, but Beastmaster's good, Dazzle's good, so their lanes are decent. And then you get your familiars, you farm a bit, you get your Dom or whatever, you try to push them tier ones. But at this point, I feel like with the right last pick forward could just contest, and it wouldn't even be that bad. If the Jug is somewhere, then you have Magnus. If like you said, you wanted to be an Ori carrying core, he's going to have Shockwave, and Winter Wyvern can Splinter Blast stuff out, and it's not going to be easy to even get tier ones, I feel.
Similar draft that Gambit had earlier today, specifically around the Visage. They paired it with that Shadow Fiend, remember, in the middle lane that went the whole Guardian Greaves build and everything. So if you're forward here, do you think about banning Shadow Fiend, or is that really a concern this game?
I'm not sure. I mean, obviously the whole Greaves Shadow Fiend thing is kind of trending right now, especially in NA, but it is a possibility. My only concern with a hero like Shadow Fiend is that you kind of run into this thing where if you go for the Greaves build and your high ground pushes don't work, then you have Guardian Greaves and your Shadow Fiend. Like, you can still farm, but you're not really going to transition into the later stages of the game at all. So it's a bit all in my opinion, if you were to go that route.
They banned the DK, and now obviously thinking about their own ban, so it goes back to that point. Will that be a ban they possibly doing that quick research, seeing it from earlier today, or just more of a solid mid-choice? But again, the theme definitely screams we want to push and push early, so they could also go a route of now last picking. I mean, I know Medusa's banned, but that 4-1 strategy hero is going to play around, so they're going to ban the Monkey King.
Means they just want a melee hero, maybe something like Tiny, just anything that's a
Huskar
playmaker.
is open.
I was going to say, what about Huskar? Yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe Huskar. That Huskar actually goes really well with Mag, just because it draws a lot of attention away from the Mag and the Jug. Like, it opens a lot of space on the map. It's good against the Phoenix.
I mean, the only counter pick left for that hero would be what, Viper? That's it.
And Viper doesn't look good against Jug Mag, so.
Oh, they're waiting to the last second, but it's going to be the Huskar.
There he is.
So yeah, now how do you answer this? What about something a little funky? I don't know, I've brought him up a couple times, but I like this idea of the new break, Nyx Assassin. The whole Vendetta break. And
the issue is that you don't have that until 6, and then how do you lane? Yeah. That's the issue with Nyx. His laning phase stinks.
Could they maybe dazzle mid? Get a support here?
You could, but it's like, are you going to be able to fit that piece into what your lineup wants to do? That's the big issue.
Yeah. Well, you'd have to think that Gambit was aware that this was a possibility at least, so hopefully they had something in mind, okay?
Okay, they're going to SF anyway. They don't really have a choice, I feel, because like I said, they could have gone for like a Viper or something and gone similar, but the whole point of the SF Greaves is not only does the hero deal damage, but he farms extremely fast, even if his lane isn't great. So if you have a bad matchup and you can just walk to your jungle and raise camps and stuff and still get your team fight items relatively quick, that still plays into the lineup better than I think any other option they had.
Resolution back-to-back games on the Huskar. Going to see him do that as well. Last game was a bit of a struggle, but against that Monkey King, so a different case here.
I mean, this mid matchup's going to... we said it last game, it's always kind of the nature with Huskar. I feel like it's going to decide all the tempo of this game. Very snowbally matchup one way or the other. Like, if SF gets ahead, Huskar can't really walk up in lane because he no longer has magic resistance against the raise combos. And if Huskar gets ahead, then SF can't really walk up, and he'll just lose his tier 1. A lot of momentum will be decided by this mid matchup, and I don't really see it going even. Like, I don't see a way that the matchup goes even. It's either gonna go one way or the other pretty hard. So I kind of lean towards the team that wins the mid lane, but I also just feel like Forward Gaming's lineup, like with a little bit of chaos, and if the game goes on longer than 30 minutes, the Jug just becomes unstoppable.
You see right there, again, the odds looking very good for Forward Gaming, at least. Got to think of that's the series even, but quite the gap. If you like those odds perhaps yourself, you like Gambit especially perhaps coming back, then take advantage. Head over to es.bet, place your wagers, place your bets. You can take advantage of the insurance. That's also happening right now for the WePlay Winter Madness Tournament. Again, es.bet. Draskyl, where you leave us here for the game once again. Your thoughts sound like, again, it's the Shadow Fiend. It's like, okay, it makes sense, but is it really there? Is it really enough?
I mean, he performed earlier when he played this, so I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a close game, maybe even perhaps a Gambit get a little bit of an upset here.
Man, they're coming off that loss. The mental state has to be a little rough right now, a little rocky, but you know what? You're still in it. Just down 1-0 here in this best of 3, so we'll see. Able to climb back and obviously force what would be a Game 3. They managed to do so, defeating Forward Gaming, but yeah, difficult task, specifically with the Shadow Fiend matchup in the mid lane. As you have now entered the game, so tipping on either side. But yeah, once again, Resolution getting to play that Huskar, so a little bit of change of pace for him. Ramsey's comfortable on that core.
This is another feels-good Jug game. We saw it earlier. I feel like when I have these feel-good Jug games, like what I mean by feels-good Jug game is I just don't really imagine how you die once you get like 1 or 2 items. Like once you get past the initial phase where you have like no survivability in your itemization, like I feel like if he gets like Manta plus 1 item, he's actually just unkillable this game. And because he has a mag, he can skip the Battle Fury. So I just feel like his game's really easy to play. And Ramses loves being aggressive, and having him on like a very aggressive, survivable hero, I think just is exactly what we saw last game. And I think Jug's a much easier hero to play around than Anti-Mage for like his teammates. Like I talked about the little bit of miscoordination. So I pay attention to Ramses here. Definitely the win condition anytime you're in a Jug mag lineup. But if Gambit can force like Roshan's, I think a lot of this game will be dependent on who gets the first Rosh. You have a Huskar lineup on one side, and you have a Visage Beastmaster lineup on the other. So both teams have heavy Rosh threats, so whatever team gets off to an early start, that'll almost certainly be the way that they snowball that lead.
Very passive start here as far as the bounty runes go. Just a 2-for-2 exchange. You see at the bottom lane, they're going to do some blocking. We saw another team do this earlier in the event. Kind of blocking the creep wave themselves. Obviously,
it looks like they know there's a lane swap coming, so they're going to try to stall the Beastmaster from getting there and then block the creeps under tower so that the creeps die. And that's a really cool way to handle this. And that's exactly what they're going to do, it looks like.
Yeah.
Skewer him away? No? What did they do? You can't just let him walk by. Oh, that was odd.
I don't know.
I guess they're content with just the lane pushing.
Yeah, I was going to say, he went in power level 1, too. He doesn't want to get skewer at level 1 in that case, so...
I guess this is their way of securing Mag his game without having to help him. Like, they actually just rotate Wyvern mid to help this matchup, and then they rotate the Lich top. So that's a very interesting way to secure Mag his lane by having it push out. They block the pull camp with a sentry, so there's no way to pull the lane back. And now they can just leave Mag alone. That's actually really cool. These are the little things that I love watching pro matches for, because they have a clear-cut plan of how to, like, deal with this snowbally matchup in the laning stage and all these little things. So
yeah.
Very cool.
You got to adjust. We talk about too as F9. She's not doing much talking right now. He's trying to get away. He's going to be fine, but taking plenty of burning spear damage as well to pop some more regen. But with this being the new patch, still it's only a couple months in, and it's the only it takes a bit longer, especially when such an overhaul happens, to find the adjustments, find what works best, and we're still to this day, seeing those shifts you're pointing out right there. So we got a major, we got a minor coming up. It'll be extra intriguing to see how those shape up because of said changes, what the teams are doing. But
I get asked about like the dynamics of the safe lane and why certain heroes are better and all that kind of stuff, and I think one of the most notable things is where the creeps meet, is where the creeps are just so much closer to the tower now. And funny enough is Forward Gaming has turned that into, that allows us to block the enemy creeps so that it goes into their tower and we can secure our offlaner that way, which is just so funny how these little changes dictate so much about what strategies and little plays are viable.
Patch 7.21. Creeps now have phase effect at level 1.
Yeah, seriously though. Eventually, if this becomes normal enough, that'll probably happen. Like side lane creeps now have phase or something. And
yeah.
It's kind of sad, but like that's generally how these type of things have been patched.
How do you break the game? That's how it's we get those changes. So that trial lane still down there.
Guy.
Magnus, he could be in trouble. I'm watching the mini map. I've seen them wrapping around. So there you go. He's going to go for the TP play, and it is in time. That Soul Assumption nuke, not enough damage, but very close. He TP'd to the tower. I'm guessing he has a salve, and yeah, he's going to start healing out. Middle lane, Winter Wyvern, I guess this is the Wyvern's plan. He's just going to sit mid. Can't the Shadow Feed. They do not want to let him get a good start. And he is right now. To be fair, he is at early levels, but now Wyvern's running in as Alpha 9 pushes up a bit. But, of course, he knows that, so he's going to say hello.
Yeah, I don't think Huskar at this point can threaten a Shadow Fiend alone. Like, he can't afford to Burning Spears him. He'll just eat like 1 or 2 raises, and Shadow Fiend right-clicks for more damage. So this is a matchup where I think they're pretty aware of where their Huskar's at, and they know he needs help, even if the Shadow Fiend's still, quote-unquote, winning the matchup.
There we go again. He's manning up against Resolution. Resolution has to respect that raise. One more auto attack, very far up at the last second, and they get the kill first. Very close call. Could have gone either way, but Resolution, he'll strike first blood thanks to MSS on that Wyvern.
That is so important. To shut down the Shadow Fiend snowball. He was in mid-animation of his raise when he died, too.
Saw that.
So it's amazing how little these things can matter. Like how these little decisions or little barely winning an engagement will have a shift on the game pace.
Top lane, there's that great combo, the Frost Shield spin. Afterlife, he's realizing how powerful it truly is. He is going to survive, though. No salve to pop, but he's got some tangos at least. Yeah, good luck dealing with that.
Got
deadly.
to kill some boars, though, so that's a lot of golden XP.
I'll take it. CS favoring the Dire team a bit. You see Magnus, he's been solo down there pretty much this whole time, right? And it goes back to that whole block initially and helping set up to ideally have a good time. He's top CS. That's a solo Magnus.
Visage just doesn't do anything to him, and he's laning against Visage now, so Visage is a hero with low base damage and real no way to, like, secure denies. And Magnus just empowers himself and hits creeps with a quelling. There's no real way for them to shut him down.
Yeah. I guess Dazzle's realized that by now, and FNG wants to be useful elsewhere.
Yeah, let Visage get his 6 bottom. I think that's super important. Visage can also really speed up the pace of this game. I think the idea that Gambit has against the Mag first pick is they pick Dazzle, Beastmaster, Visage, these heroes that just want to group up and barrel down lanes. And I think that they're set up to do this, like where they have this timing that they'll hit, or Jug's not quite strong enough yet, and it just comes down to whether or not Forward Gaming can shut down that timing.
5-minute bounty runes. You saw the skewer being used by Magnus at the bottom of the lane. You also have Lich living as he pops a Shrine now. Afterlife could be in trouble. MSS running him down. The Arctic Burn auto attacks. One more regular one needed, and sure enough, it is enough damage for that kill. So the bounty runes, lo and behold, start some action, and another kill for Forward Gaming. Magnus eventually gets spotted out by FNG, but at least that's going to be in Visage. Even more solo experience and free fire to work with, because, yeah, Lord knows he needs it. As you mentioned, get that level 6 especially. That's where he can start actually doing things a bit more effectively. Those familiars. Not the fast start, though, like they had their first game earlier on today. Visage looked very good early on, and specifically Shadow Fiend just was going off in that game, and he got the early mech, and they played around that, and that was the tempo. On that note, actually, with the whole mech build into Guardian Greaves, is there any reason why you would see it being different this game, maybe because of the start, or you still expect that?
I'm pretty sure that their game plan remains the same, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that same thing again. I feel like SF as a hero doesn't really fit this meta if you don't go that build, just because this meta is so group up heavy, and that's really the only way SF can play that actually incorporates him into team fights effectively early to mid game.
Version, no more dive, 5 more seconds, it's coming up, but nope, the Splinter Blast hits, gets the kill. SVG is going to die in response. Ramsey's pretty deep here. He's got the heal ward though, and his life will start going upwards. FNG, though, joining up with the Beastmaster. MSS going to be body blocked. Well played by Afterlife, and they are going to kill Wyvern in the end. So, finally, some good response for Gambit, as it ends up being a double kill on the Beastmaster. Triple Bracer finished on Huskar, meanwhile. That's good luck killing him right now. All that magic resistance in life. And as I say that, they're going to try, but not even close. That with an infused raindrop, I really don't think they're getting a kill on him.
I mean, SF is still winning this lane, and that's a big deal that even with all that help, that SF still wins. I wonder if we'll start seeing more and more SF just because of the popularity of Huskar as a hero. I mean, clearly the matchup is favored towards SF based on what's happened in this game.
That is an odd thing to hear against Huskar, but yeah, it feels like a couple of examples we do have. As Beastmaster finishes Gaze, pulls him in, and you see Wyvern, of course, is finding his time up here now. Get that kill. Universe in trouble. Familiars are out. Soul Assumption is not enough. He's able to make it back to the tower, and we'll probably have to TP back to base, it looks like it. But Visage level 6, and again, goes back to he's ideally going to be a bit more useful now. Almost getting a solo kill. It's top lane. Try versus try. All of a sudden, once again, the Frost Shield goes up. There's a spin. Seen this before. Beastmaster too tanky, though. Is too far away, and the tower's nearby. So Ramsey's having to fall back now. Splinter Blast coming out. Beastmaster running him down, puts the Hawk forward, trying to get some vision for FNG maybe, but MSS ends up killing Phoenix in the back lines as they were so distracted getting tunnel vision, and he might kill Afterlife as well. Gets him low. Not enough damage. FNG's still not out of here yet, though. He needs to make his escape. Frost Blast, no, he's out of range. And the heal ward once again.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
And these are where little buffs come into play so much. Jug got that 10 armor buff, or sorry, 10 agi buff at level 1, and that armor makes, he lives with like 20 health there, and that 2 armor is what makes all the difference. It's just so funny to me how little things in Dota, how make all the difference when these lane matchups come into play. Like previous patch, you wouldn't be able to pick Jug against this. And he's gonna TP out. So close, but the heal bomb not quite enough.
And just that, the knowledge there, like, that knowing that they do not have a stopper, TP's out. Obviously,
it's
no
something that's
problem
always
there.
super important to think about on any carry hero specifically, because you know they're always going to try to gank you, and you have to think, like, what are my options when certain heroes come to my lane? And the best players in the world, they always know exactly what they want to do whenever they get farmed on. He's probably thinking to himself, as long as Visage isn't here, I can TP out at any point.
Yeah, you're right. That goes back to the lockdown lacking on the Radiant side, in fact, overall, between Prime Aurora and Visage Familiars. They don't have much else. FNG. Get some Arctic Burn auto attacks, but again, he'll be fine. But yeah, keep looking back at the Shadow Fiend, the CS at least. Now, again, he's probably been into the jungle a couple times. That's what he does, so, you know, take that a little bit skewed, sure, but net worth, I'm sure he's also up there. We'll see that in a second, as we're approaching now 10 minutes in.
He does have the mana boots. He is going the Mech Grease build again.
Yeah. So same idea as before. I think we saw Visage get a helm on the Dominator in that game earlier, so probably expect to see that as well.
Curious to see if Ramses goes something like Drums, just something for the early to mid game like Drums Manta, just to be able to fight what the inevitable timing that Gambit is threatening this game.
All 4 bounty runes going the way of forward there. 10-minute mark.
PPD would be correct.
Yeah.
Dire's middle tower is under
Power's applied, so obviously that's the thing with Empower. In the laning phase, she's not getting advantage with it, but now that we're kind of moving around a bit, Ramses finds himself at the bottom, pushing with Magnus. So Empower buff applied. It's level 2 Empower, but still, does plenty. Here comes the push. Oh, Fire Spirits, those are annoying. Magnus going in. He wants to catch the Phoenix, like, damn you.
He just get out of here. Let us push this down.
Yeah.
That's just him forcing him away. You can't just let him sit underneath his own tower, Fire Spiriting your creep wave.
Oh.
And they're going to lose the catapult because of this chase, but they should be fine to still get the tower, or at least still apply pressure. Jug's happy to be on this part of the map. Huskar's looking in trouble, though. Playing pretty far up against a Beastmaster when he's all alone. And don't even have to roar. Not going to lie, that's just terrible positioning from Rezo. His entire team is showing bottom, so that means that Gambit knows he's alone. And then he's a Huskar against Beastmaster, so there's really like no way for him to escape. Very peculiar choice by him, but either way, Gambit do punish the mistake, and it looks like they're going to turn that into a tower push.
Yeah, I mean, net worth-wise, Huskar has been on top right now. He still is even after that death, but obviously a bit of a sloppy death, as you're pointing out, so slow
Very
it down.
odd feed from Rezo there, honestly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Visage now taking advantage of that, and we are going to see the helm of the Dominator. He went that medallion first. Now on the Dominator next, once he gets that, and the mech comes online for Shadow Fiend specifically. I feel like those are the 2 key items to really start pushing these objectives if you're Gambit. Now Universe bottom lane, he has his RP, and he's going to fake it there. It's not worth it to get the Phoenix.
Phoenix, such a good support hero for taking over the dangerous farm, showing how impactful he is, just pushing and forcing Forward Gaming to commit a lot of heroes if they want to bring down these towers.
Oh, Reza wants that damn board. He's not gonna get it though. Ramsey's going Vlad's build, by the way, it looks like. I was kind of curious about that.
Yeah, I like the Vlad's. I said drums, but Vlad's fits exactly what I was thinking too. Just want some early to mid game item that allows him to be more impactful in the fights, since he doesn't need Battle Fury because of the empower.
Shadow Fiend, I hear the Requiem going off over there, but okay, they're going to turn on the Huskar because of that. I'm pretty sure he life breaked in, expecting to make a play, but gets turned on. MSS in trouble too. He has a curse, not going to come into play though. Promeror just makes sure he stood no chance of getting away right there. You'll see the Alpha Wolf controlled by the Helm of the Dominant there, so they're going to go right into the Roshan pit. This should be a very easy Roshan kill. Although Shadow Fiend's not here. A little bit of damage loss.
Plenty of damage. They even have the Wolf.
Yeah, they have. Oh, Magnus, he's got RP. No, he did use RP. Never mind. He does not have it. So without RP especially, they do have a Chain Frost as, okay, there goes the Roshan kill. He just picked up by half an inch on Shadow Fiend. Now Resolution showing now. Will this be his third death in a row right now? Well, Doxock actually going to be turned on right here. Visage, the Winchell's curse on him. Resolution jumps in, life break, enough damage to get the kill. Omniscide's passing around as well. And holy crap, Forward Gaming just cleaning up against Gambit Esports. They're going to take out Shadow Fiend to spawn the Aegis.
I guess that's why those are the odds.
Yeah, exactly. Who are you to question that? So, again, I think sometimes it also means for the series. I'm not 100% sure, but ultra kill for Ramses. But yeah, speaking of those odds, es.bet, you can go play some bets yourself if you like set odds. Right now, though, Forward Gaming after that fight, the odds got to be favoring them pretty heavily because that was a good one.
That's exactly what we talked about at the draft. Is they're gonna represent this timing. Forward Gaming has to make sure they shut it down, and they did. I like how they know they can't really go into the pit and contest, but they know they're still able to fight despite the Aegis, and that's such an important momentum swing. I usually feel like if I'm the Gambit lineup against a Mag Jug, I pretty much just lost the game. But obviously there's still a game to be played. It's just a very scary situation to be in now. That they just basically threw all the momentum they had. No more Aegis. Map control goes a lot towards Forward Gaming now. And it just gives them that much more time for this Empowered Jug to become the strongest hero in the game. I have to believe he goes Manta. Just because they have so much single target physical damage, and it also synergizes well with the Vlads. But they might get caught here at the rune, smoked up from Gambit, but that's a spinning Jug.
Ooh, yeah, he started to spin. He gets Promeror, of course, but great skewer away from Universe is going to save the day with an RP, but okay, well, they kill FNG as well with a curse. If Universe also gets out, he is, isn't he? Oh my god, actually, okay, so he used an RP for that, but the fact that everyone lived is pretty big.
Very well played there. Very important that all these little things matter so much in this momentum game. Like sometimes kills don't really mean that much, but in this game, every kill that Forward Gaming feeds means like 1 or 2 towers just gone. And instead, since they used RP, they're not going to try to fight anymore. They're going to try to trade. And since the map control went in their favor after Roche, they're going to be able to get a trade off of this if Gambit decides to commit to this bottom tower.
Middle tower is under attack.
Looks like
But Phoenix TPing mid. They look like they want to fight.
Well, Phoenix is here. Yeah, Supernova ready. Got no RP. Which they're aware of. He's being pinged out, though, and he has to Icarus dive away. So Shadow Fiend's still pushing bottom. Looks like Beastmaster's with him. Good combo, of course, for pushing. They are TPing in, though. They're trying to catch somebody with the Familiars, but could not get close enough. So Tier 1 tower down bottom. It's definitely favoring Gambit there as far as that mini exchange. And, I mean, you look at the big picture. It's less than 1,000 net worth lead for Forward Gaming. So as unfortunate of a fight that Roshan was for Gambit, it's still a game that they're most certainly in. You are still scared of the Empowered Juggernaut, sure. But this is the timing, really, where ideally this Radiant lineup should start connecting very well. Like I said, the Guardian Grief purchase just about finished on Shadow Fiend, and that's where it all comes together.
I think they've got one more chance on the side of Gambit. Like that first one was, you know, slowly but surely like leading to the death of their lineup, but they have the ability where they're strong enough to still force objectives. There's just going to eventually become a point where they can't walk down lanes because a single RP means they're just going to die. Like even if they get RP'd on like, excuse me, 1 or 2 heroes, they'll still just lose the fight. And that's the point where Jug becomes way too scary. So if they can force the issue before that, then that's the timing they have to hit. But this Jug is a ticking time bomb in this game. Not always is Jug the hardest carry in the game, but this game in particular, there's just no better scaling hero than him. And it looks like Forward wants to force the issue. They probably have a mag blink based on the fact that they're smoked up.
Well, Huskar eventually gets exposed. There's the Guardian Creeps being delivered, by the way, for Shadow Fiend, so he does officially have them now going into a fight. Everything's up on either side. They're still hunting. Forward Gaming wants to find this Afterlife. He's looking for a Promarora opening. Spin from Ramses. There we go. Promarora up on MSS, but the Frost Shield comes out. Wyvern's going to be safe, so not the best Promarora of the century. In fact, Doxock, he gets hit by the curse. Neither that being a good ultimate, so both teams kind of in panic mode of somewhat here. Not really sure what to do. RP still ready for Universe. Charging in. This is a very odd fight right now.
Yeah, they lost vision of the mag with the Beastmaster Hawk. They tried to roar him, and he got canceled mid-animation as mag walked through out of the vision. So a little bit unfortunate on both sides there, but looks like we might still have a fight.
There's the RP. It catches Aphrodite. Omni Slash in the backlines kills Dazzle. Now it's running after Aphrodite. Posse Guardian grieves. The Requiem goes off, but it just doesn't matter. Never mind. Requiem didn't even go off, actually. He was casting it right there, but he goes down before, and that's now going to be a tower push on top of it. So you called it, man. One more fight maybe to give themselves hope and a chance. But they lose that one pretty decisively in the end, and now Forward Gaming is going to start the snowball.
Really good awareness from Ramses there. Instead of going on the SF with his teammates, he looks in the back lines and takes out the Dazzle, knowing that if he goes on the SF, that's just setting them up to potentially get turned on by the Phoenix Dazzle, like the Dazzle Grave plus the Phoenix ult. And it Visage is a hero that stands his ground, very similar to Huskar, where there's no running away when you're a Visage. And the point where Visage becomes a pretty useless hero is the point where the enemy team can afford to just go on you. And like I mentioned already, they're getting dangerously close, if not already there. So this Jug does have the man to complete, makes him virtually unkillable now that he has that, as long as he gets the spin-off and fights. I'm just not feeling good for Gambit right now. Obviously, they're down to a Jug Mag lineup, but I don't really see a way that their lineup attempts to come back. It's a very momentum, snowbally based lineup that we saw earlier that kind of relies on just keeping their advantage, and they've lost it at this point.
Yeah, reminds me a lot of like these kind of Drow lineups that we were seeing a bit, especially in the last season of parts, where if you do not get that start that you hoped for as far as snowballing and pushing objectives, then it's a very, very difficult task to come back and win in that one, but not impossible. Oh, especially after last game, what we saw. Definitely not going to say impossible by any means, but it is a very, very big uphill battle. You'll need some mistakes from Forward Gaming. We talked about Ramses. He can be a reckless player sometimes going in there. So maybe
it's a little hard to be reckless on Jug, though. Jug's got like just so much innate survivability, so we'll give him the benefit of the doubt here. It looks like they're just forcing a trade going on the mid lane while the Jug's taking bottom, and 2 free kills on the side of Forward Gaming. Unless he... Will the Burning Spears be enough?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Jug's already threatening bottom lane. And Visage can't really be a hero that responds because his birds can't teleport, so he's just going to stay top. And Wyvern's already TPing in order to slow down the Visage push.
Fire Spirit's already applying, pretty annoying, but spins it off. Illusions have been taken away, though. He TPs to the top lane. That's because who is up? That's the Visage. Speaking of him, he's trying to continue to push. He actually TPs away. No. Yeah, he did TP away. Never mind. Those are the familiars being killed off. So Forward Gaming tried to catch Visage before he could fall back, but he does make it out, and I think you kind of say that's pretty good for Gambit, considering they're behind. They forced a response and lost nothing.
Yeah, successfully avoided a fight there. But at this point, the problem is it's kind of like earlier where we didn't really feel like that Anti-Mage was ever going to carry the game. I don't really see what point Gambit is stronger. And so it looks like they are under the same sense of urgency that I feel they need to be. They're smoked up, roar, blink onto MSS.
Oh,
the RP counter initiation, but that might just be enough to save them for now, but just disengage. As long as Forward doesn't lose the game now, I know that sounds kind of weird to say, but as long as they don't lose the game now, they're going to win. So
yeah,
just chill, accept your one loss. They invested a lot in that. No map control is really lost from that for the side of Forward. All that matters is the next Rosh. If they get Rosh on the side of Forward, I think that's GG. So Gambit knows that's probably their last timing to hit.
Yeah, to Forward's credit, that's exactly what they did right there. They, even with the RP and skewer backwards, Universe picked up on it. He's like, you know what, we're not going to engage or win this fight. I just run away. And so they backed off for sure. Wait for the next Roshan, which is now up, which they're going to scout here in a second. Tier 2 bottom does go down for Gambit, but I'm pretty sure Forward knows.
They want to force reactions bottom and then get out of bottom so that they can play around Roche. They kind of want to force Forward Gaming to shift their attention to the other half of the map, which will allow them to Roche. But Forward Gaming correctly only responds with 1 or 2 heroes to the bottom lane and allows the Jug to just be the survivable wall. That's the problem here, is that he can play like this and defend objectives just by existing. And Team Spirit, or God, I keep seeing all these random names. Gambit, you know, they're trying to bully them out. Like, they're just trying to say, like, oh, I'm scouting, I'm a dazzle. Like, we saw you TP 2 heroes bottom, but this is the virtue of just having the map control on the side of Forward Gaming. And this should be an easy Roche. They should be completely willing to force this fight. No Phoenix Egg. Dazzle's dead for 40. And with the Vlads, it's very safe to attempt this. But Jug instead TP's bottom. So this is the kind of stuff that I learned from. He's realizing maybe that the only way they lose this game is by the split push pressure, potentially getting a free racks or something like that on the Visage Beastmaster. So he wants to secure that all the lanes are pushed in, and he thinks he has that luxury. Almost has that butterfly too, which with Empower is even more insane because you get that bonus damage.
Yeah, and there you go. I think that was probably the biggest reason of anything. Wanted to finish that as soon as possible before they really try a Roshan here. So picks it up, and now it's heading back with the team. That's a little laughter. But going to make its way to the Roshan pit with Resolution leading it.
Scary Jug.
Yes, it is.
36 armor.
Amongst many other things, but yes. 23.5 minutes in as well. That's a big part. As Visage, he's in the northern position. Just Juggernaut right now in the pit. And obviously, Gambit, they're aware that that's happening. It's just, again, how do you find the angle? Skewer, gonna miss. Universe trying. He's got the RP ready if needed. Doxock sending in the familiars. I hear the promo on the back. Let's catch an MSS. And not enough follow-up damage. So once again, Rugby goes up, but F9's caught by the Winter's Curse. It's just immersion. Gets a couple of heroes beating into him. Not the most damage though, but now it comes out Alni Slash, and that's plenty of damage. Shallow Grieve on himself. FNG. Oh no, they lose a Shadow Fiend, but he buys back immediately. The Phoenix Egg did go off right there. 2 are dead, which is Wyvern as well as Juggernaut, who's staying dead, by the way. Resolution's now in trouble too. Buyback from Lich is not going to matter, and, well, Gambit, they are going to take the Roshan for themselves. The Phoenix Egg worked.
Yeah, the Jug, I actually think him TPing bottom there was a big mistake. I don't think you need the butterfly. Like, they waited until Phoenix Egg was up, and then Gambit was strong enough to fight them there, and they lost the healing ward to a boar, and then proceeded to still try to finish the Roche. And Gambit, well done capitalizing on the mistakes of Forward. Huskar dieback there. RP was expended. They might just get a lane of racks here.
Well, well, well. The things are shifting again, similar to the first game.
That's why we play the game. Even if you think they're in a rough spot, that's why the game is still being played.
Play to win the game. Just trying to force stuff there. Ramsey's, he's doing what he can, but yeah, the melee racks is picked up. Apho9's gaze back in. He's skewered in now, and team is forced to react a little bit. Icarus dive. SVG might fall for this. Okay, well that's a reaction. They kill the Lich, and then they back off without losing Shadow Fiend. So I think it's going to come down to somewhat similar to last game. It's going to be a lot more of a split push now from Ramsey's. Perhaps that they're going to rely on here for Forward Gaming.
FNG, you're 6 slotted. Put your items in your inventory.
5 branches.
Hey man, you gotta make do with what you got.
Yeah. Doxocki's, but look at we haven't talked a lot about Visage, I suppose, but Crimson Guard and AC now finished.
They are tanky as all hell. If they can actually survive the RP Omni Slash, then the damage output from forward is heavily lacking. Huskar, honestly, at this point is pretty negligible with all the teamfight items that Gambit has. All this sustain, all this tank ability. Has the Manta on the Shadow Fiend, which is actually really good against the Omni Slash as well as the Huskar. So that's another benefit of survivability for the Shadow Fiend. BKB not really doing much this game because he just dies to all the single target damage.
That Manta style finished 2 on Shadow Fiend, and yeah, you mentioned the cheese and the Aegis. Also, level 20 is almost there, and I got to figure he's going to start transitioning more into this right click, if anything. So definitely that steroid talent of the Souls we'll see as
Absolutely.
well.
Dire's middle tower is under
And
attack.
he's going to
Radiant
hit
are
pretty hard.
scanning.
Even though going Guardian Creeps first, he's still going to be quite a threat.
Oh, Shadow Fiend does a ton of innate damage, so whenever people see him build these type of items, they seem to think like, why isn't he building the right click? It's like the hero has a free 72 damage and minus armor. He does a lot of damage, and eventually he will build items to deal damage, as you said. So there's no way that this Greaves implies he isn't implying to try to carry this game.
Oh, yeah.
Or intending to carry this game, excuse me. And they are up by 6K, man. What a game Dota is. Suddenly, you know, thought Gambit had the control, then they were down by 4K, thought Forward Gaming couldn't lose. Now they're up by down by 7K on Forward Gaming. Looks like they're looking to make a smoke wrap around here. Can they get the initiation they want? They have the ward placed. They see the Shadow Fiend, but he just dewards it with what? Oh, they already had a sentry there, I guess, from the Roche fight.
Yeah. I'm going to take care of it quickly. It's an unfortunate circumstance there as far as the ward placement goes, but Forward Gaming falls back as a team, realizing that's the case. Not going to give them an opening, and can still have the Aegis on Shadow Fiend. He handed off the cheese to somebody else, perhaps Visage, but both of those they still have to worry about. The Aegis still a couple of minutes, I want to say, as the mid-tier 2 goes down. Do they try to go uphill here if you're Gambit? They're going to make their way towards the middle lane, it looks like. Push the tower. Familiar is going to be disarmed. RP, skewers in, Mantis down, not going to work right there. He gets skewered back in. Prom Aurora on top of Universe, though. He's going to be caught with the Cold Embrace. He still has the RP, can't get it off, however. As the Requiem went off from Aphanite, mitigating damage, remember, as well as everything else. Ramsey is still strong on the front lines, though. They killed the Phoenix as Magnus got very low. No, he doesn't. He does die. However, he buys back. So does Phoenix. The fight continues. I hear the Winter's Curse going off right there, I believe. And the back lines, yeah, the RP on top of that, and a buyback from Dazzle as he dies. But Shadow Fiend, he's tanking, man. He's not tanking up. He goes down. That's just an Aegis, though. Remember, Resolution Cold Embrace will save for the time being. Shadow Fiend's coming back up, though. He's got some raises for his face. Triple kill for Doxock on the Visage anyways. And Huskar staying dead. Juggernaut had to buy back for this, too, remember. Omnislash just bouncing around. There's so many units nearby, though. He kills a Familiar, but that's it. That's all he really killed right there. Look at Shadow Fiend. Another Greaves. He's back to full life, full mana. Kill the Rex. Well, now Aphanite's at half-life. But he's fine.
Apparently you can Omni-slash Familiars that are on the ground, like that are in their immune form. So that's kind of unfortunate. I did not know that interaction. So that just wasted like 2 or 3 slashes from the Jug there, which is a significant amount of damage when you're empowered. And suddenly, with all these buybacks, they're up by 11K with another lane of racks. Game is looking better and better for Gambit. I'd say it's very similar to last game, though, where you are at all points vulnerable to this game getting turned around in favor of Forward Gaming. So Gambit has to continue to play carefully. They've taken the shrines. They've taken all the map control they need. Chill out until the next Roche. Make sure you don't feed any deaths. Like, doesn't mean you have to do nothing, but
yeah,
you know, play a clean game, get the next Roche, and you're good to go. Blink on the Jug in order to help follow up the RP. It feels like most of the RPs the Jug has not been able to hit anybody for.
You also see that level 15 talent. I think it's worth reiterating with this lineup, especially that Presence Aura affects buildings from the Shadow Fiend. And with this Visage pushing especially as well, it's no wonder these objectives are melting.
Yeah, that talent got significantly buffed by virtue of the fact that when you're 5-manning, the towers no longer gain any armor, and with the change to armor, all the towers have way less like built-in armor. So instead of reducing the armor by like 20% like it used to, it probably reduces most towers by 30-40% armor, which is very significant when you're a grouped up physical damage lineup like this. They see this DD. This could be the turning the tides DD if they manage to force a fight. They do bottle it on the Jug. That's super important. That's a 370 damage on Jug.
Trying to make use of it. Has that blink dagger. In fact, he blinks in there, but that's Ramsey. He's pretty far up. They turn and he respects it. He backs off, joins back with the team. So forward. Do they really want to try for a push here? Again, Roshan is up in potentially in another minute and a half or so. We'll see what it's actually looking at, but yeah, they're not going to try to break high ground. FNG's just pushed out the bottom lane. They are heading that direction. Trying to see if they can catch him. With Dazzle just trying to be a little crafty here. Glimmer, Cape TP. There you go. He distracted. Well played getting back. Plays like
playing
that.
the dodge game. don't give Forward the gaming the fight they need. That's all they got to do. Avoid fighting. Don't give the RP. At this stage, if the game goes normally, then Gambit will win. But if there's some chaotic shenanigans that result in a 3-4 man RP, that's going to be how Forward Gaming wins this game.
There's a butterfly. So, yeah, I think it's safe to say Shadow Fiend is a damage threat, if he wasn't already. Go with that level 20 talent.
Sure.
Oh, he's hitting extra hard now. He still has the cheese on him, remember. That's given over. So, Roshan, we're going to find out in a second here if it's a fast or a slow one. And then both teams, no doubt, can interact around that. It's a Tier 3 Roshan as well, so Refresher Shard to go with everything else. Obviously, both teams would heavily benefit from it. And it's a fast one. It's going to be next 20 seconds or so, it'll be up. No vision in that area right now, though. So neither team will know initially. Juggernaut, it's been a while since, I mean, we saw the Blink Dagger, but obviously he bought back the previous fight as well, so things slowed down a little bit for the Juggernaut, but he gets another double damage, by the way. Or no, that was the one he got bottled. Never mind. Just finally activated it. Point is, though, it's his next item has to be coming soon. In fact, now seeing the butterfly, do you think something like an MKB? Oh, no, he's going to miss.
I think he has to itemize for himself. I don't think he can really afford to itemize to like counter the Shadow Fiend. I think he has to build like Scotty or Abyssal or something. Something that makes him harder to bring down and able to man up in these fights. Because he is actually dying in these fights. He is susceptible to getting bursted. Or not bursted necessarily, but kind of worn down over the course of the fight. And they're doing a really good job of sniping the healing ward. It's a crucial part of Jug's kit. And they're setting summons on it really well. The Visage Birds are actually quite good at killing the healing ward. And when the healing ward's down, Forward Gaming's team fight's way worse than Gambit's, just because they have so much poke damage and damage over time on the side of Gambit. It looks like they're going to secure this Roche for free. I don't think Forward's going to make it in time.
Wow. They scan them coming over. Look at who's blue. That's Dazzle's going to just be a distraction, if anything. But, yeah, they do not get there nearly in time.
Really good positioning to break the smoke with the Hawk vision, so he knows exactly what's coming.
Yeah, standing in the trees right there, so he got Forward. Pretty frustrated, I'm sure, after that, but have to accept it. They have another Aegis now, another cheese. I think that's still the cheese from before on Shadow Fiend, so I believe they have a second one. And then the Refresher, who did they give there? Well, probably Phoenix?
Beastmaster.
Beastmaster, you think? Okay, Beastmaster. That's it.
He does have pipe as well. He has like mobility items, so the roar could be used quite effectively as well.
Yeah.
Like because of all this mobility. Catching the Wyvern or the Lich is super important here. The supports are super valuable in these fights for the side of Forward Gaming.
Who's that? Juggernaut. He's going to fall back before he gets got over there. Another 2,200 gold saved up on Shadow Fiend, by the way. Still sitting on that casual Wraith band. That's how good that item is, man. Who's down here? That's Magnus trying to catch it. You can tell that they keep trying to catch somebody, but FG just spread out enough to prevent themselves from getting caught. In fact, Universe is collecting the bounty runes down here, so well played.
And Jug actually had an illusion rune in the bottom lane, so that's applying a decent amount of pressure to the bottom lane, which is nice for side of Forward Gaming. Eventually somebody on Gambit will have to respond to that.
Phoenix. Heaven Talbert has 3,500 gold saved. I was going to say Shiva's usually a pretty popular item on a more farmed Phoenix, so he queues it up there. Something to expect to come down the line. Oh yeah, Visage was the other one. Did he finish the Scythe? He might have actually had the Scythe being delivered there. He had a Axe queued up earlier for that third familiar, but he's choosing the Scythe instead for crowd control. And they're looking for an opening. Phoenix going in. Afterlife, he jumps SVG. There's one from Aurora. Should be a free kill. Gold Embrace, that's just going to delay things a little bit. So Lich out for 45. Just sitting in their base. Not much more they can do once again on the side of Forward Game, and they have to respect the Roshan tools that were given. Juggernaut has to have something else by now. What did he buy? I wish they'd click on him.
They haven't shown him yet. He has to have bought a full item by now.
Yeah.
Scotty, yeah.
Is it Scotty? Okay.
It was either Scotty or Abyssal, whatever he thought was more necessary. He just needed to tank up and be able to stick on targets.
3,800 gold saved up as well. So, oh, Resolution. He gets jumped off the bat. Already popped the inner fire. The Immersion pops the Refresher Shard, and he goes for the egg, but it's still going to die, it looks like. Yep, a little too far up right there from Immersion. Now on the backline, Doxak. He's caught by the Witch's Curse. Alpha9 beating into him with the right clicks. Out comes the RP. Oh, that was weird. Pushback after the fact. Don't even know what just happened right there. Either way, Omnislash is bouncing around. You can see that from Ramses. Alpha9 gets low, but the cheese, he uses it. Requiem comes out as well. Afterlife's going to be saved with the Shallow Creep, and they're turning on the side of Gambit. They take on Magnus. He buys back immediately as Phoenix bought back as well, trying to come back into the fight. Ramsey's getting somewhat low, has to spin for the Grave Chill, and the slow of him. You see Doxak in the midst of it. He is still beefy as hell. The Soul Assumption and nuke down Huskar, who has a buyback, but they're going for the racks now. Just look at how fast those things die. Fortification will be used at the last second, but the melee's taken out. We're 2 racks away from Mega Creeps on the side of Gambit.
I didn't want to interrupt you in the middle of the fight, but Shadow Fiend Manta dodged that RP, so that's what happened there.
That's what it was? Okay.
Yeah, so that was pretty sick play from Shadow Fiend. The thing is, Universe did hold the RP just a little bit too long after the Winter's Curse. It gave them the time where he wasn't stunned anymore in order to be able to dodge it, but either way, it's always impressive when somebody Manta dodges an RP.
And I think I saw the inner
I
fire
think Shadow
push.
Fiend would have just died there. I think he would have just died because he would have been sucked in and stunned for the RP duration, but instead all they got was, I believe like the Visage or something is all they got.
It also looked like to me Huskar did his pushback ability as the RP hit as well, so like everyone kind of just spread after the fact too.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what was so funky.
Some synergy there.
Yeah. But either way, it's Gambit wins another fight, and again, 2 racks away from claiming Mega Creeps as mentioned. The Shadow Fiend, he's gonna have an Iascati. He's got 6,600 gold saved up, so just a matter of getting it purchased. And there's the MKB purchase by
now that you're 6 slotted, you kind of gotta get it. He had to go one more tanky item first, but now you gotta be able to deal all the damage your team needs. This Huskar is pretty useless, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it really is odd to almost suggest that, again, from Resolution, I mean, the player that he is, but in both games, Huskar, unfortunately, has had very minimal impact. There in Game 1, now Game 2. It hasn't played out for him as far as the usefulness of the hero, it seems like, but I suppose he is still a disarm that he can provide, has that going for him because of his new tool set.
One of the weirdest changes of 7.20 that I don't really understand when they changed cleave was you used to be able to cleave on Jug when you spun. Like if you spun, you'd be able to clear creep waves and hit people during RP. But now you no longer cleave on spins, so kind of a weird change. I don't think the cleave changes should have mattered, but it does matter in this game because there's a lot of crowd control that doesn't affect him only when he's spinning, and that makes it so he can't spin to hit people.
There's the scythe finish. So yeah, Visage hadn't even finished it yet, but does pick up the scythe now and has more crowd control to work with here. I suppose another Roshan is definitely where this game could head as we're now 40 minutes into the game. You see the rune control. Invis going to be picked up by Juggernaut there. Just before Afterlife can make his way over. There's an Arcane Rune at the bottom, which also going to get Beastmaster, but that's a Refresher Orb that he has.
And he's bottled up the Arcane Rune on Universe, so he'll have Arcane Rune RP next time they fight, if that's any time in the next couple minutes. That Phoenix Dive is always a funny one. The bajillion ranged Phoenix Dive.
Icarus Dive. 28,000 net worth. Top of the charts is continuing to be by far on top. Obviously, the Empower tool helps that, but a lineup here on Gambit's side that kind of talking about has this idea that they want to win fast, win early. So it's going to be a struggle, but what is going on, by the way? I feel like they are initiating. Okay, the smoke up, they're running in. That was Resolution up there with the BKB, but Alpha9 able to respond. I believe we got a Glimmer Cape, and you look at how slow Gambit's playing this. They're just resetting. Doxak, they'll cut down by the Shallow Grave at the last second from the Omnislash. Gonna survive for now. The Soul Assumption, multiple targets coming up for the talent, and Universe has to get the hell on out of there. He still has his RP. He will survive. Oh, the eggs hit. Ramses gets caught. He's trying to spin out right now. Doxak doing plenty of damage. He spins back in. He says, all right, we're going to fight this. Resolution goes down, though. Ramses is balls to the wall right here, but he's going to go down as a result. He buys back. Resolution staying dead in the midst of this fight. Forward Gaming just cannot complete their task. Universe, he got his RP off eventually. Doesn't matter. He goes down, too. And that could do it. That could be the opening for Gambit to finish this game.
Yeah, they don't have any Magnus for this jug. That's like half of his net worth in terms of like he relies on that cleave and damage, and he just can't carry this alone, even with the RP or even with the Magnus and power. It looks like, and this Gambit lineup is just so scary when they're grouped up as 5, and now they're built. Oh my God, the buildings with the minus 12 armor, 11 armors. Ugh.
Yeah, he got the talent too. It's at 25. It's just GG. I mean, they're buying back on Wyvern, but without Magnus, without Huskar, there's no way you're saving that Ancient. That'll do it. Gambit takes game 2. We are going to a game 3 as a result. Whew, this has turned out to be not only that first game especially so intense, but the series is turning out to be one of the better ones casted in a while. And excited to see how it all finishes up in game 3. It could definitely be either way at this rate.
Yeah, for sure. Just a little bit of sloppiness from Forward Gaming in regards to that Roche attempt. I already highlighted Ramsey's waiting until the Dazzle was alive as well as the Phoenix Egg, but also just the fact that they lost Healing Ward and then proceeded to try to finish off the Roche. Healing Ward's so important in these fights because of all the poke damage that they had. So they would just Gambit saw that the Healing Ward was down and they just took the fight real slow and wore down Forward Gaming, and that was, like, in my opinion, the turning point of the game. It went from a 4K lead for Forward, and then it led to like a 6K lead from Gambit, and they just took complete control from there. And that's how Dota works, you know. one or two big mistakes away from just throwing a one game.
You know, Gods pointed out earlier when we saw Visage picked up by Gambit and that dominating victory over Pavaga in their first series, that he actually has the highest win percentage in top-tier games right now in terms of pubs, but it's very low picked in the sense that you're only going to pick him if you're very comfortable with the hero. Darksock is that comfort factor, right? We've got to see that now twice, and this was the more drawn-out game. It's like, okay, what can you do in the later parts? He's just that heavy aura carrier that also is very difficult to kill and constantly being a nuisance in these fights. And his burst damage is potentially very high as well with that soul assumption. So I think, I don't know about banning a Visage by any means, but it's kind of nice to have a player that can play Visage comfortably, it seems like.
Absolutely. I think that next game I want to see from Forward, I like to not see Huskar. I don't think that's Resolution's hero, nor has it like been very impressive this entire series. So I personally not only want to see Gambit stick to their comfort zone heroes that they showed in that game, but also I want to see Forward mix it up a little bit.
Here we go. Game number 3. Going to go into a short break, but Forward Gaming versus Gambit Esports. This is a quarterfinal matchup here for the WePlay Winter Madness Tournament. The winner moves on to the semifinals. They'll be playing NIP tomorrow. The loser is done in this 8th place spot. As a result, we'll see who wins. We got game number 3 starting up next. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back.